Welcome back to today's episode with me, Johnny Pardo. And today I welcome Carrie onto the show, where we're going to be talking about health. We're going to be talking about the connection between the body and the mind. We're going to be talking about our emotions and much, much more. And I'm excited to dive in with Carrie today. So I'm just going to quickly introduce Carrie, and then we're going to dive into the conversation. So Carrie is the CEO and founder of the Institute of Regenerative Health and Wise Wellness Clinic. Carrie is a traditional naturopath and regenerative health practitioner. Carrie helps people get to the root cause of disease and reverse it from the physical goal, energetic and emotional level. Carrie also mentors women through freedom coaching business to help them achieve the frequency, the desire in their lives from the inside out. So, Carrie, welcome to the show today. Glad to have you on and make it happen. So, Carrie, first of all, I'm like fascinated with someone's interest in like health. Was this from your own journey? Was it from someone you knew who you were trying to help, or if you just been like really curious around like health and the connection between the body and mind for a very long time?
It's definitely from my own journey. I always think our journeys are blessings. So I was this really sick kid actually. So I grew up pretty sick. I had a reflex valve problem when I was younger. I had multiple surgeries for that. Grew up in a really like, mold-filled home, so I had lots of bronchial issues, asthma, infections. And then into adulthood, by the time I was 30, I was actually diagnosed with early onset lupus, Hashimoto, fibromyalgia, and unexplained infertility.
Wow.
And then I also had another doctor say, "Oh, you have Lyme disease." And at that point, I was just like, enough. Like, obviously, I have the same symptoms for all these diseases. I call them diseases because disease really doesn't exist outside of humans and house animals. And it was really that awareness that, when I was diagnosed with these conditions at 30 years old, I wanted to have more children. I was really quite devastated. I remember saying to my doctor, "Well, how does this happen?" And she said, "Well, we don't know, but it just does. If you take these drugs for the rest of your life, you'll live a relatively normal but shorter life." And that just wasn't acceptable to me. And I remember thinking, if this can happen, something changed in my body and I can unwind it. And those diagnoses came after the end of a really intense 10-year marriage. I'd gone through divorce. I was single parenting two small children. And I became very aware that my body and my emotions were deeply connected. And I started to begin the journey of cleaning my body, detoxing my body, but also cleaning out the unprocessed emotions that I hadn't been facing. And that was really my journey to help them all in wellness.
Oh wow, it sounds like quite a lot by, the age of 30. That's quite a lot to like go through. So you found there was an emotional cause from them rather than yeah.
I think it's both. So, we're
Mm,
never just physical or emotional. We are physical and energetic beings all the time. And we
mm,
are more energy than we are matter, physical matter. So I think that we also have fractures in our energy field that start to manifest physically and affect the physical tissues and cells. And then what we're doing physically is either helping us maintain the balance or it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. So, there were many things that factor. I noticed that right after my divorce, it was almost like overnight when the divorce was over. It was a 2.5 year long divorce, very emotional, very expensive. I was working multiple jobs to make ends meet. And it was literally when I remember getting the papers in the mail. And when I saw it and it was over, I went to bed that night, had a good cry. And the next day, I accidentally slept all the way through my shift. It was like I had slept like 18 hours. My body just collapsed. I woke up with rashes. I was swollen everywhere. And I was like, what is going on with me? And
wow.
it was like my adrenals had reached safety, right? We're safe, it's over. And everything collapsed in my body. So there was an emotional collapse. Absolutely. I think I was being kept alive by that fight or flight, those cortisol steroids. And then there was a total collapse of the energy body. But the physical body was still, I was overtired, I was overworked, I was overstressed. I probably was drinking too much wine to deal with things, at the time.
Mm.
I don't drink anymore. But yeah, so there's physical things that create health imbalances, but we are more energy than we are matter. So we can't ignore the emotional and the energetic components. And I don't think it was an accident that it happened like right after that.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. So both, yeah, both are important, but yeah, sometimes we can neglect one or the other, right? And just, yeah, just not be paying attention to the emotions, just focusing on the physical. But it's both. You found from your experience, it sounds like.
Not only mine, but after this, I was
Mm,
so blessed and grateful to to reverse all these chronic diseases that they say are non-curable, and to be able to reverse it yourself. And I remember thinking how actually frustratingly simple it was. It took commitment, it took change in my life, but that's
mm,
what set me out on my mission to say, like, everybody needs to know this, that this is possible for them. And so that's what really set me out on my journey to opening my clinic, and then eventually opening a global institute that educates people on how to create that full health sovereignty in their lives. But all the patients that I worked with over the last decade would come in for a physical ailment. They'd be doing all the physical work and things would get a lot better. And then we would hit a roadblock where they would plateau. And I would start to really look at the organ that wasn't healing. Like, for example, pancreas. You start seeing undigested food in your stools, belly bloat, all these different things. Pancreas is the energy of grief. What grief are you holding that you're not letting go of? That's starting to take up real estate in the cells of the pancreas. And energy, I always say emotions unprocessed creates issues in the tissues. And so certain emotions hold in certain tissues. And the example of grief in the pancreas can also be a little bit of guilt. That emotion will start depleting the tissue salts of the pancreas. And then you start having pancreatic symptoms. So people start taking enzymes. And yeah, all those things help. We have to remove the actual root cause of the imbalance. Bowels. If you have constipation, what am I not letting go of? You look at the lungs, and that's survival, right? I can't breathe. You also look at grief is a big one for the lungs. That thing of like, I'm grieving, I can't survive, I can't take a deep breath. People that have asthmatic issues, all sorts of that develops into fear and anxiety with the adrenal glands. So there's all of these emotions that take up real estate, and I call them energy leaks. They essentially start leaking out essential tissue cells that your cells need to run. And then we start seeing the physical imbalance. And then everybody goes to the doctor, they go to the naturopath, or they go to the functional medicine doctor, and they start self-diagnosing themselves with diseases and taking all these supplements. And those are just band-aids. Those aren't root cause healing. So there are absolutely physical reasons for imbalance, like chemicals, toxins, parasites, pesticides.
mm.
Stress, scars are a huge source of flow imbalance in the body. So I address these 5 points. I basically look at the first is we have to look at physical infections, whether infections or viral loads or parasites in the body. Dental infections cause big problems. Having high viral loads or parasites in the body. But the reason parasites or viral loads are in the body is because the voltage in the body is too low, and because the environment is inviting them in. So we work on the terrain here in my practice. I also look at the level of stress. If they're under chronic stress, that can trump everything. If you're in a fight or flight state and you can't get into the parasympathetic, into the rest and digest, then the body can't get into a healing state. So we have to learn how to down regulate that stress response in the body, get you into the parasympathetic so you can start healing. The third thing I look at outside of that is toxins, right? So what chemical toxins are in your environment? Is there mold and mycotoxins or PFAS, forever chemicals that you're breathing in? Are you eating pesticides all day long? These are big things that impact you. Next is we have to look at emotions. Emotions are one of the largest contributors to energetic imbalance and to physical and cellular imbalance, and it's being completely ignored in naturopathy, functional medicine, and Western medicine. And then the last one is actually scars. Scars really interrupt flow of life inside the body. They actually, like, at that scar site is taking and depleting life force from the body, trying to, keep lymph can't flow through it. There's all sorts of things. So I really look at all of these aspects. And in regenerative health, our approach is charge the cell. We need to get the voltage up. Clean the cell. We need to clean the waste, toxins, parasites, whatever out, emotions, and then repair the communication. And when you do those 3 things and you address where the energy leaks are coming from, you always are able to restore vitality in the body.
Wow, I love those 5 things. So I've got down like the physical, the stress, the toxins, the emotions, and the scars. So Yeah, what are those five things that you like help people kind of like really understand where they are with that? So with the parts of the body, can each part of the body be associated to a certain emotion?
Yeah, I can. So emotions are always stored in organs. Like your liver holds anger and frustration. So if
Mm,
you have unresolved anger, frustration, or resentment, it's going to impact the liver cells, but it also goes both ways. And this is a lot of people don't realize is a backed up liver or a stressed out liver can generate the emotion of rage and anger. We've always heard of the angry drunk, right? They could be the nicest person. They have a couple drinks and off the hook they go. That's literally because the energy of
mm,
the liver is feeling stressed. The liver is already in a stressed out state. And so then it generates the emotion of anger. So it goes two ways, it's two-way street. If we don't process our emotions, they get held in the tissues. And then if there's issues in the tissues, it can generate that emotion. So liver is anger, frustration, resentment. Lungs are grief, a lot of grief, survival energy. Kidneys store fear, and kidneys are also deeply related to forgiveness. The heart reflects like joy and or heartbreak, right? And our heart is our largest magnetic field that we emit from our own body. So when there's heartache, we lose our life force easily. Colon, a lot of times will be guilt, suppression. What am I not letting go of? Like I mentioned, pancreas can get deep into grief, much like the lungs. And let's see, there's so many. When we are always in the head, always in the mind, it means that we're disconnected from our consciousness and our soul self. I always say depression is soul suppression. It means that you aren't where are you deficit or discordant in your energy at the soul level? Like, for example, you're doing a job that you hate and that your soul hates, but you're doing it for money to get by. That's discordant energy and it's creating a leak in your energy field.
mm. How else could we get? Have you found an effective way, or maybe a couple of ways to get away from the mind and more into that connection with the soul?
Oh gosh, there's so many ways, but the first there really are. There's somatic therapy,
Mm,
there's breath work, there's nature, plant walks, like all these different things. There's plant medicine you can do. But I think that some of the best ways is first of all just taking, set an alarm 2 to 3 times a day to just fully come into your body. No electronics, you're not being distracted by anything. Just really hand on heart, hand on belly. Maybe you lay down, put legs at the wall, and just come into how do I feel in my body? Like so many people, we wake up and we grab the phone right away, right? We don't even take 5 minutes for ourselves to check in with our physical body. Breathe into the belly, breathe into the heart, check in with your physical sensations in your body. How do I feel? Am I need to stretch? Am I tired? Like, how is my emotions? Do I feel a little emotional today? So just really reconnecting because most of us are disassociated from our bodies and we're living outside of the body, so your energy's out here and this body's kind of walking around adjacent essentially. So I think just reassociating with the physical body, even like this is my arm, this is my hand, this is my heart, just reconnecting with your physical body and then coming back to breath. And then what I do is I recommend at least 5 minutes to 15 minutes of breath work a day where you just breathe and you set the intention of what is my soul asking for today. And
mm,
I just set that intention. And a lot of times it's like when I feel sadness or I feel something, usually it's because my soul wants more playtime and I've been working too much. I need more freedom and joy and laughter in my life. And I've been grinding and that's not filling my soul. So just really coming into home into your body and know that your soul is in your home and taking an assessment and ask your soul what it wants and what it needs, but take that time to be fully present.
mm. I find for me, breathwork's been a big one. It's like it really connects me to the body, and it's sometimes like, oh, I'm feeling really, really tired. I don't even notice because the mind could just be like in a kind of achiever mindset of like, I'm like, oh, my body's telling me to rest more, but then it might be like, oh, maybe there's a bit of stress here. I find that's a really effective way to connect to the body. So I love what you said about, yeah, just doing some breath work and connecting to your soul on that level.
It's the
Powerful.
fastest connection to your soul is the breath. I mean, think about it. We think of our body as like, this is my body, right? If I was to lose a finger, I would go, oh my gosh, I lost part of my body. But nobody realizes that the air is also part of your body. Because if we cut off the air, our body would die.
Mm.
And so there's this deep interconnection between air and our body. And so when we tap into the breath, we tap right into the frequency of life and vitality. So breath work is part of my daily rhythm. I try to never miss a day of breath work. I rise with breath work. I set with breath work, even if it's 5 minutes. It's getting, I always say the way you breathe is the way you live. And
Oof.
you have, yeah, very slow, shallow breathing, or you tend to, when things get intense and you hold your breath, that shows that you have this chopped, fragmented energy field whenever times get stressful. So if you can teach yourself to breathe deep and steady through the rolling hills of life, you will notice that you move through life like that same way.
Changing your breath could make it, yeah, an impact on the way you live. I felt that certainly on the kind of the fast-paced stress, or the I'm grounded and more intentional on what I'm doing just by changing that breath. So I love what you said there. I wanted to just ask you, Carrie, what you do some freedom coaching. What is that for you? How do you work with people in that capacity?
Yeah, so I work with, sometimes I have group programs. I do group programs a lot where, I've done money magnetism. I've done ones where there's, changing your inner world to change your outer world. I believe that the journey is always inward to see the life outside that you want. The outward reflection is nothing more than an inward example of what's happening. So I really help with group programs and one-on-one mentorship for women that really want to go deep, to deeply find themselves, to understand the core beliefs that are dictating and running their life. To understand the emotions, the neurotransmitters. What a lot of people don't realize is that we are electric before we're chemical. And so one of my sayings, like I shared, is let the body heal the mind. So I work with women to start with the body, to then open up the mind, to understand that our emotions actually create a chemical neurotransmitter hormonal reaction in the body. And we are sometimes addicted to that hormone, even if we don't like it, because
Mm.
it's familiar. So we get on these loops. And so I really focus with women with their bodies, uncovering what loops are you in at a neurotransmitter and hormonal level, what core beliefs have created these realities for you. And really we just go deep, and really help uncover them and transform them, transmute them, and rewire the brain, the nervous system, and the frequency of your cells overall, so that you can become an energetic match for the life that you desire. Which I really hate the word manifestation, because
I'm with you.
it's so stupid and it's so overused and it's not even understood properly.
Yeah.
Really, it's about the law of resonance. What are you in resonance with is how you're vibrating is what you're attracting, essentially. And sometimes we are subconsciously manifesting a life we don't desire, because we don't realize what's under the covers. We don't realize what's in the corners. We don't realize the ancestral imprints that are there that are maybe not ours and aren't serving us anymore. So once we dig out those corners of the closets, we clean those things out, we start tapping into who you really are at the soul level, you start vibrating and resonating with totally different experiences, things, places, all of it. And life just, like, it starts, the divine unfolding begins in that way. So it's really about understanding your energetic frequency in your body at the cellular level.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's yeah, really going deep, but kind of making it simple for people to kind of like rewire um their thoughts, and then getting that connection between the body and the mind to get the right energy to what they want in their life. So I love that, Carrie, what you're doing there. So yeah, Carrie, as we kind of like wrap up to that, I wondered if there's maybe a final point you wanted to leave us with, whether that's recapping something or adding something else in. And yeah, obviously there's so much more you can go into depth with and support people with. So where can the listener find you or find out about more of your work?
Yeah, you can, for finding out more of my work, you can just go to carriedrinkwine.com. It's CARRIE, drink wine, just like it sounds. I don't drink wine. Carriedrinkwine.com. That's where you can find my clinic. If you're needing physical support, you can come physically into the clinic. We also work online with people virtually all over the world. The Institute of Regenerative Health is also listed on carriedrinkwine.com. That's for people that want to build thriving careers, getting to root cause of disease and creating that vitality and that health sovereignty in their lives. And then my freedom coaching is also on there, and my DIY programs and things like that. So carriedrinkwine.com kind of hosts it all. But I always believe that it's an inward journey, and we have to let the body heal the mind. this co-interdependent relationship here. It's not all in your head. If you're dealing with self-doubt and all this stuff, it's in your gut, it's in your lymph, it's in your mitochondria. Because when we are lacking light at the cellular level, our bodies actually run off of biophotonic light. And so if we aren't getting outside enough, just getting out in nature, our cells will feel more hopeless. And these things are deeply connected. So, that's why I say what the cells think is what the self thinks. The cellular wisdom of your body is trying to give you signals and whispers. And I always say, if we listen to our body's whispers, we will not have to hear it scream. When we arrange our terrain and we start to really approach the terrain of our body, the cellular wisdom comes back online, and it brings you back to that soul divine blueprint of who you're meant to be in this world.
Oh, I love that. Amongst all these like hustle, busy cultures, finding that time to really connect to your body and what it's communicating to you. It's beautiful.
And non-negotiable times of the day that I just love.
Yeah.
I'm busy during this time. We all have 10 minutes. You spend it scrolling, but start spending it on connecting with you.
Yeah. 30 minutes in silence is a powerful one I found. So no, I appreciate that, Carrie, and everything you've shared with us today. And like I said, there's so much more in depth you go with to support people on this. So we'll be sure to link all your links in the show notes below.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me on.
Awesome. So that concludes our episode for today. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.